You are watching Travel World Online.
Tourism ministers focus on international cooperation to strengthen resilience. Kerala makes a strong pitch as an all-season-long stay tourist hub. One rep global to represent Ras Al Khaimah Tourism Dev Authority in India, Malaysia to offer quarantine-free travel starting April 1. India's revenue from international tourism will touch $50 billion in next 2 years. Subhash Goyal. The tourism industry is recovering, and turnover will reach back pre-pandemic levels by 2023. Sri Lanka to issue long-term visas for travelers interested in investing. Jindal Stainless Hisar Limited is ready to venture into global aviation, defense and space markets. Martin Eknai, CEO of Mesa Berlin, emphasized ITB's traditional role in promoting dialogue. He said,
"Not only on international travel. Together with the entire industry, Mesa Berlin stands for international understanding, peace, and treating another with respect. We condemn war and violence and appeal for dialogue and a constructive exchange of views as the sole principle on which to act." It goes without saying that numerous sessions at the ITB Berlin Convention, including the Ministers' Roundtable, will address this topic.
In a paradigm shift from one-stop location-specific approach, Kerala has firmly marked itself as a destination for extended holidays for all segments of visitors with a bouquet of diverse experiences. VR Krishna Teja, Director Tourism, said, to extend stay of travelers, Kerala has variety of experiences.
The important thing is, we are targeting for increasing the stay of the domestic tourists. Today, the domestic tourist who is going to come to Kerala, on an average, is staying for 4 days. We are targeting to increase that to 6 to 7 days. Now you can question, how can you increase the average stay of a domestic tourist from 4 days to 6 days? Yes, we can say, we are here with a bouquet of experiences for you. Any tourist who is going to come to Kerala today, one day he can experience the beauty of the backwaters in the house. The next day he can experience the beauty of unexplored destinations in a Kerala. The next day he can experience the beauty of plantation in a plantation business. The next day he can experience the jungle lodges and the forests. And the next day he can experience the heritage of Kerala in a heritage resort. And the next day he can experience the beaches of Kerala in a beach resort. And the next day, he can experience the backwaters of Kerala in a backwater resort. And the next day, he can experience the city life of Kerala in a city hotel. And of course, in all these days, he can experience adventure activities. So today, as Kerala is proudly says, if you send your tourists for 7 days, we will offer you 7 different experiences.
Mr. Subhash Goyal hails government decision of restarting scheduled international flights. He said,
"We are all delighted. I am very happy, and also all the tour operators, the tourist guides, the entire aviation industry are all delighted by this news that scheduled international flights are starting from 27th of this month. We have been struggling for the last 2 years. The tourist guides had no other source of income. They were all suffering, and I would personally like to thank Honorable Jyotiraditya Scindia ji, our Civil Aviation Minister, who went out of his way in order to ensure that the flights start as soon as possible. I am also grateful to the Tourism Secretary and the Honorable Tourism Minister, who also were constantly trying to fight for the tourism industry to the best of their ability. Friends, in 2019, we earned about $30 billion in foreign exchange from tourism, and we hope that in the coming 2 years we'll double the figure, or at least $50 billion. And those people, about 25-30 million people who had lost their jobs, will be reinstated. Thank you once again. Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, everyone.
You are watching Travel World Online. You are watching Travel World Online.
Ukraine crisis clouds Southeast Asia's fragile tourism recovery. Travel industry fears that the war in Ukraine could derail the much-anticipated recovery of travel and tourism. Today we have Mr. Subhash Goyal. He is an authority on tourism, especially on aviation sector. Rajiv Mehra, President Indian Association of Tour Operators. Mr. Rajan Sehgal, President, Indian Golf Tourism Association, and Mr. Rajiv Kohli, Joint MD Creative Travel. Let's ask them what's their take on the impact of this war on Indian travel and tourism industry.
What is your take on this?
See, the tourism industry was the first to get affected, and I think it will be the last to recover. The war between, Russia and Ukraine, and the invasion of Russia in Ukraine is the greatest, I think, tragedy in the modern times, not only for India, but the whole world. Because if this war is not controlled and if peace doesn't return, this could emerge as a starting of the world war.
Yeah.
Fortunately, a lot of countries in Europe and the US have maintained restraint, but how long can they do that? Therefore, from the tourism industry, I appeal to both Russia and Ukraine that today there are talks have started on the borders of Belarus and Ukraine. And I pray to God that these talks are successful and, peace prevails and there is a ceasefire. And I think both sides have already started coming to the negotiating table. But before more bloodshed is lost, thousands of Indian students are stranded. There are about 15 to 20,000 students who study in Ukraine. Fortunately, Ukraine International Airlines had started some charters. They brought a few hundred people, about 1,000. But the government of India, the Prime Minister, the Civil Aviation Minister have done a great job. And there are series of charters which are coming, from Romania, from Poland, from Slovenia, all the other neighboring countries where the students have crossed the borders. And the Indian embassies and the Ministry of External Affairs has done a great job in ensuring that these students don't suffer.
Rajiv Mehra, who's the president of IATO, which is Indian Association of Tour Operators. So what is your take on this situation where, we were hit by a pandemic and suddenly we are again in a war-like situation right now?
Well, definitely it's a very alarming situation because of this war between Ukraine and Russia. And as far as we and India is concerned, as far as the tourism is concerned, definitely Ukrainians will not be traveling to India, I think, for a long time to come because of whatever has happened there. So we will definitely lose that portion of the business. Now, Russians, we are still not sure what is going to happen because Russians were traveling a lot to places like Goa by charter flights. So far, I have not heard of any cancellation of those flights. But ultimately, that would also be affected one day, and it will be very soon. Also, those who have already booked and paid, they are definitely traveling. But those who have not paid in yet, even from USA or UK or Europe, they're tending to postpone their travel by a couple of months because they do not know what the situation would be. Like if they land up in India and the war escalates, then what happens? So a wait and watch situation is taking place, and definitely we were trying that this would be finished soon, but this has not happened.
Today we have Mr. Rajiv Kohli, Joint Managing Director from Creative Travel. So, sir, what is your opinion on the impact that it has created in the travel and tourism sector?
Well, war is not good. War only benefits the manufacturers of weapons. This is going to create uncertainty for sure. It is going to create escalation on prices globally, given that Russia is a significant exporter of oil and natural gas. We are going to see disruptions in airspace and already been seeing that where international airlines are avoiding that region. If we go back and remember about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the Malaysian Airlines aircraft was downed in that region, deliberately or by mistake, whatever. So yes, this is not great news. Is it the end of the world for tourism? Absolutely not. It is a regional conflict, and unfortunately, that region is going to feel the brunt on tourism. Europe is going to feel the brunt on tourism. Whether India and Asia feel the effect, I think it's early days and probably unlikely because it's not a new incident in some ways.
So basically, even Russia is an important market for Indian tourism and travels. So what will be the impact on Indian tourism, travels, and the hospitality department being the constant in invasion of Russia to Ukraine?
Look, the Russian business to India is mainly charters. There is normal leisure business, mainly charters. It is going to affect Goa. It is going to affect Kerala, no doubt about it. Yeah. I'm sure they're all looking forward to Russian planes landing every day with travelers. That is probably going to stop short term. Unfortunately, the Indian government has not taken a stand, whether it's against or for Russia on this. So given that, Russia may still allow planes to come. It is going to impact, but the impact is going to be very localized on Indian tourism and mainly to our beach destinations over anything else. Will it impact rest of India? Not really.
Today we have Rajan Sagalji, who is the president of India Golf Tourism Association and co-chairman Tourism Committee of PhD Chamber of Commerce and co-founder Passionals. So what is your take on this and how it has affected the tourism industry?
Okay, namaskar to everyone. As you know, this pandemic has made the entire travel and tourism industry to a standstill from the last 2 years. There was no movement, and we started domestic tourism for almost 4 to 5 months. Then the third wave came, and again, even the domestic tourism stopped. But the third wave was not that crucial. We overcome that, and everybody was waiting. The flights international flights were going to open in the first week of March, and everybody in the travel industry was very, very happy and welcomed the decision of opening the international routes. But as you said, suddenly this warlike situation which was erupting between Ukraine and Russia, and it is now happening from last 3 days, which made the world again on a standstill, and especially the Indians who are looking forward to go to Europe and Eastern European countries, which have become very, very popular in the last few years before pandemic. They were all planning to go there in the summer, but I think this war has given a big jolt to the travel and tourism industry again, and especially to the aviation industry, because of this war, everything will be very, very costly, whether it's a fuel or cost of living, and that first of all, the safety. People were panic about COVID. Now they are panic about this war, the war-like situation. We are watching Ukraine from the last 3 days, how the country is damaging every day. So no tourist wants to go to these areas. Yeah. Even adjoining countries, they don't want to go because, especially after this pandemic, they want a very peaceful and comfortable travel. Yeah. And I think it has affected a lot.
So what's your take on especially the flights en route to Russia or Ukraine?
Look, I think it will take another now 4 to 5 months to normalize this part of the world. The traffic will start. I think the Asian countries, especially the Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Maldives, they are the countries which Indians will go and travel once the flights will open as announced by the government of India in the first week of March.
15th
But
March, I
to
guess.
Europe and other parts of the Eastern European countries, I don't think people will be ready to travel in the next maybe 5 to 6 months because the situation is very bad. Even the people of Ukraine and the students who are there from other parts of the world, from India also, they are running from this country and taking refuge in the adjoining Eastern European countries. So I think the situation is not normal. And as I told you, the future travel, people wants to be a very safe and responsible travel, which Europe and this part of the world will not give them for the next 5 to 6 months. So it's a big jolt. I think we have to concentrate still on domestic tourism and the Asian countries like Thailand, Vietnam, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and other places. Europe will be another, I think, 6 months gone far away from us.
You are watching Travel World Online. You are watching Travel World Online.
Not only for Azerbaijan, I guess for the whole world, this past 2 years, pandemic years, have been very challenging. We saw a lot of countries shutting down for travel. A lot of airlines stopped their operations. Nevertheless, in Azerbaijan, we've been very active in promoting Azerbaijan as a tourism destination and to keep it on the top of mind of the travelers, so that once the travel is reopened, as we are experiencing it these days, so that travelers can easily are informed about what we have here to offer for the travelers, and that they can come to Azerbaijan. Starting from the last year in 2021, we already started opening up Azerbaijan for international travels. In the beginning, we started only with 5 countries, and today we have over 90 countries where the citizens of those countries and the permanent residents there can travel to Azerbaijan with presenting negative PCR test result and either COVID vaccination certificate or certificate about the recovery from COVID-19. Having this document with you, the travelers can travel to Azerbaijan, and it's very easy to get a visa. We have the online e-visa system. Travelers can apply and they can get their visas either in 3 days or 3 hours upon their preference. For the first-time travelers, obviously there are the usual itineraries and a lot of products that they haven't been acquainted yet. These are the Shardakh, the Ateshgah and the Yanardagh and other places in Azerbaijan. I would like to speak a bit about Baku, because Baku is the biggest city in the Caucasus and a very modern city with a European outlook. We see, Baku is famous for events such as Formula One and other international, and has been a host for other international events. But apart from that, Azerbaijan actually has 9 out of 11 climatic zones, which means that Azerbaijan has a lot to offer, whether it is nature experiences, whether it is urban experiences, whether it's cultural experiences, because in Azerbaijan we also have a lot of UNESCO heritage listed sites that have been also very popular among tourists. We developed a few projects during this year. One of them is the slow food travel. This has been developed together with it's a European funded project, and a lot of people have probably heard about the slow food philosophy, but the first time in Azerbaijan we merged slow food philosophy with the travel, and Azerbaijan has become a slow food travel destination. This project brings together local producers and gastronomic communities in certain regions and multiple parts of the tourism value chain together. It allows travelers to enrich their experience through farmers, cheesemakers, winemakers, and other local producers. And we created a slow food travel map, which also shows various experiences that they can join during their travel. Apart from that, we've been very active in developing a lot of hiking proposals for the travelers. Apart from 16 new hiking trails across the northern and northwestern routes of Azerbaijan, which, by the way, passes through remote mountain villages, forests, lakes, and the waterfalls. We are also cooperating with the Transcaucasian Trail Association and developing a long distance hiking trail that follows the Greater and Lesser Caucasus Mountains. As part of it, a 97 kilometers hiking trail has been developed, and it passes through the lush and forested mountains of Sheki and Zagatala, and in future we are planning to combine all the hiking trails so that you can travel from one part of Azerbaijan to the other one, and actually you can also cross it to other neighboring states as well. We've been also very actively developing bird watching experiences in Azerbaijan, because Azerbaijan is an attractive bird watching destination thanks to its mixed landscapes from wetlands in the subtropical south to the mountain villages in the north. And actually, bird watchers can find millions of interesting bird species. Among them, I would like to mention Beshbarmak. This is a bottleneck for a lot of birds migrating from the south to the north during change of the season, and it has been remarkable during this a remarkable place for all the bird watchers. And this year in November, we are planning to host a bird watching festival at the Shirvan National Park. This is organized jointly with the Ministry of Ecology, and we are planning to have a lot of international media and bloggers in this event too. Travelers who have been to Azerbaijan or planning to a trip there to Azerbaijan, they have heard about the mud volcanoes, because Azerbaijan has more than half of all the actual mud volcanoes across the world. And we are right now building a mud volcanoes tourism complex, which will allow the visitors to enjoy multiple experiences, from quad biking to zip lining to workshops for children, along with the trip to the moon-like landscape of the mud volcanoes. We also have a lot of offerings for the families. The travelers who are usually visiting with the families. There are multiple malls. Each of them are equipped with the kids zones and also great for the shopping. But also we have Shamakh Safari Park. This is a paradise for ecotourists and wildlife lovers. It covers the area of 1,000 hectares and is home to more than 1,000 wild animals. It's located in a very picturesque place where you can enjoy Caucasus Mountains. Azerbaijan has been host to many international events, and it put us also on the map of the MICE tourism, because over the years government has been heavily investing in the MICE and conference and business events infrastructure. This comes as I would say I would like to highlight two main venues for this. One of them is the Azerbaijan Baku Convention Center, which hosts up to 6,000 people. Which can host with a lot of conference halls and the breakout rooms. But also next to it is the Hydralief Center, which is also an amazing venue designed by a world-renowned architect Zaha Hadid. Baku, even though it's a big city, but all these facilities are conveniently located next to each other, and also considering that there are great road infrastructure, the access to these venues are very easy. Apart from that, Baku is also a place where a lot of international chain hotels are located, such as Four Seasons, JW Marriott. We have actually quite a few Marriott hotels in Azerbaijan. Recently, Intercon also opened in Baku. And highlight of the year, I would say, is the opening of Ritz-Carlton, which is planned for this year. And it also has a lot of conference facilities and experiences that we can offer for the MICE segment and business event planners. Since we started operating our markets and we started directing our marketing investment, India has always been as among the key source markets for Azerbaijan. And if we look at the statistics numbers of 2019, when we had the record number of travelers coming to Azerbaijan, over 3 million tourists, we can see the highest increase among the travelers were marked from India. We had a 67% increase with over 65,000 travelers. And considering that Azerbaijan was recently introduced to the Indian market, it was a remarkable indicator. And since the borders with India is open again, we see a lot of interest coming from the market. We are already in touch with our partners, trade partners in India, and already started introducing them to the travel regulations and further information about the products. But it has been not very challenging, because during this pandemic years, we've done our homework and we created a few projects that would support our partners in India to get updated about what's happening in Azerbaijan and what Azerbaijan has to offer. One of them has been Azerbaijan 101. It's an online platform which gives information about various tourism offerings we have here. And actually, interestingly, the highest number of people who got the certificate was actually from India in 2020. So we have a lot of travel experts on Azerbaijan in India. Indian market has been very diverse. If we look at the who is traveling to Azerbaijan, obviously the main chunk of travelers from India in the previous year were the MICE groups. But our strategy for Indian market has always been not only having a MICE group, but also having FIT travelers, family travels. Wedding and corporate event groups have been very popular. Azerbaijan has been very popular among this traveler. And for this year, obviously, we are starting the moment the borders got opened. We immediately filed registration at OTM Mumbai, and we are also planning to participate at SATE. It's a good chance for us to reconnect with our partners in India, also to get them in touch with the local industry here in Azerbaijan. And obviously this year we have a lot of projects addressed for Indian travelers and also our partners in India. So we are going to host some fun trips, both media and travel related, so that people can learn about Azerbaijan a bit more. We have already planning to schedule B2B meetings. This can be both virtual or a hybrid format, where travelers will be also, where tour operators will be also required to travel here to see what happened, what has changed. We are are very much looking forward to welcoming tourists to Azerbaijan from India.
Great. Thank you very much.
You are watching
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਗੁਰਤੇਜ ਸਿੰਘ ਮੈਂ ਰਾਜਦੀਪ ਸਿੰਘ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਦੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਤੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਰੂਬਰੂ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਸਪੀਕਸ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ
Suki Bath Motors is BC's most trusted independent auto dealership. We currently have over 400 vehicles in inventory.
Our sales team can help you find the right vehicle within your budget. Take advantage of several promotions such as 0 down payment,